Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world, wherever you are watching this program from. I welcome you to this amazing program. Today is the 7th of June, 2024. We have come once again, as we always do, to express our views on things that are happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly issues that have to do with the Biafran people. This platform, as you all know, is a platform that is supporting the Biafra Republic of Exile under the command of our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and the Supreme Command of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In this platform, we bring information to your doorstep. We do not come here to instigate violence. Neither do we come here to preach hate. What we do is to bring the truth out and to debunk every lie that has been told against the Biafran people. It does not matter who tells the lies. Once we spot a lie in you, against Biafrans, against our Prime Minister, against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we are going to come here to debunk it. And today, we want to look into a video that was made in one of the conventional media, I think Arise TV to be precise. On that video, you are going to see the response, the person that calls himself the leader of the Ohaneze Igbo, to be precise. I said it in the first instance when he said what he said in channel television when they interviewed him. And I said he was not looking for attention. And we can't trust him. And our Prime Minister also made a statement and told him to be consistent in his word. But just in few days, another interview was granted at Arise. And he was bold enough to begin to accuse our Prime Minister for something that he never took responsibility for. You and I know that everything that our Prime Minister have done through the Biafran Liberation Army, he takes responsibility. He doesn't shy away from it. But today we see the person who called himself the leader of Ohaneze, Igbo to be precise. When he was asked a question in the conventional media about what transpired in Abia State, instead of him to say what he knows or to limit his words to defending his people, he once again tried to drag the Biafra Republic of Exile into that matter. I want you to listen to his response to the question he was asked in Arise TV. Pay attention to everything he has to say, more especially to the end of it. You are going to realize what I'm telling you, that you can't trust this man. They are only seeking for attention. They are incompetent to be called fathers or those who are defending their people. Just as we call them Ohaneze, Nduhin, and Deama. That is what they are. They are all the same. I want you to pay attention to this very video and hear what that man is going to say. Let's watch together.
Thank you for staying with us. The President General of the Ohaneze Igbo, Emmanuel Iwayawu, has condemned the killing of soldiers in the southeast. He spoke to Arise News earlier.
I am terribly worried about what is happening in the southeast today, in Igbo land today. I was many years ago a young man, and as a young man, I identified myself very well with all the hopes, all the aspirations of our people. I know that our people started in Igbo land from a very humble beginning. For example, in 1914, when Fred Lugard migrated Nigeria, Igbos didn't have even any secondary school. But by 1960, when we had independence, Igbos have attained exalted height in education. Igbos have attained exalted height in business, in bureaucracy. We have achieved a lot. All these achievements, as I'm telling younger people today, was made possible, first of all, by the fact that our forebears, our parents, embraced Christianity. Christian faith have got the whole sacred human life as sacred. That man, Christian faith forbids a man taking another person's life. Christian faith, they also embraced education. They worked very hard all the communities. In fact, the education in those days was a partnership between the government and the various communities and the various missionary bodies. Our forebears have worked very hard to build a very formidable Igbo who are respected in Nigeria. But unfortunately, what I'm seeing today is incredible. Yes, I'm aware that some Igbo young people, like young people in other tribes in Nigeria, feel they are not quite satisfied with how things are going. I think Nnamdi Kanu is part of people who have felt unsatisfied. But that doesn't entail going to kill or going to set up an army or plan to kill anybody. We live in a country, Nigeria, and there is a constitution in Nigeria. And anything anybody wants to get from any civilized society must be done through a constitutional process. Now, mark you, this is not the first time.
I hope you have listened to the person that called himself the leader of the Ohaneze, Iwanyamu, when he was asked a simple question regarding what's transpired in Abia State. You have heard him what he said. These people are people who are not competent enough to represent the Biafran people, more especially the Igbo race. They have no business being there claiming to be representing the Igbo race because they will always be the first to accuse their own people. They will always be the first to give their own people away to be destroyed. Now, I want you to watch another clip. When someone else was asked similar question that he was asked, the exact question he was asked to someone else, and I'm going to show you how the person responded and how the person answered the question. After watching this part of the answer, then you will now begin to compare the response of the second person with the response of the person that called himself the leader of Ohaneze and Igbo, who claimed to be representing the Igbo Biafrans. You are going to see the difference when we call them cowards and we call them Ohaneze and Hinadam. We say it with evidence that these people are incompetent to be called leaders in any ramification. Let us watch the second part of the interview. What someone else was saying when the same question was asked to the person. I want you to pay attention to every single response this man is going to give. It is very important. You might not agree with everything he's going to say, but the way he started off and the way he responded to the questions is where I want you to pick interest. This is someone who cares about his own people. This is someone who represents the interests of his own people. From the way he answered the question, you don't need to be told what he is made of. Let us watch together this other part of this very interview for you to understand what I mean when I said that Iwanyamu is a betrayer and is not competent to be called a leader in Biafra land. Let's watch it.
The news of the killing of the 5 Nigerian soldiers and 6 civilians in Abia State by suspected members of IPOB. How do you contextualize this incident within the broader spectrum of IPOB's agitation and historical grievances in the Southeast region?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, viewers. It's not going to be my focus to just circumscribe the killing of soldiers only in the Southeast. There's a general knowledge that Nigeria's security situation has deteriorated very, very tremendously, and regrettably so. And it feels so painful whenever you hear any security agent mowed down or gunned down, not at the war front, because it makes you feel very unsafe as an individual. Because if your security man could have been tied up, it's just a matter of seconds and you'll be reached. So that is my own feeling about, general feeling whenever I hear that this thing happened. And it is very, very also somehow disappointing, the ease with which it appears our security men are killed in the street, not at the war front. There has to be some extra vigilance, even if nothing else, to reassure us that we are also protected. Now, the location of killing does not necessarily mean that it is people there that committed the criminal act. It's condemnable to kill ordinary people, not to talk about men in uniform. Even, as I said, the situation calls for extra vigilance on the part of security agents, because one of the reasons why criminals may want to go for them, it may not be personal. They may be interested in their arms. After all, it is the means of violence that is in the possession or unlawful possession of the criminal, that he can unleash terror on ordinary helpless citizens. So, for that reason, eternal vigilance is called for by those who are in possession of those arms legitimately, so that they don't fall prey to those who are looking for an opportunity to dispossess them. And the only way to dispossess a man who has gun is to gun him down or snatch it one way or the other and render him helpless. And in the situation we find ourselves these days, human lives are no longer valuable as we used to know it. The president of Ohaneze was talking about how sacrosanct life was. That is in the past. Today, in those days, you will never fear about harm from somebody you didn't know or have any interaction with. Today, just because you are walking in the street, you could just be a victim. Or just because you come from a certain ethnic stock or faith, a religious faith, or you look like somebody, you could just become a victim. So things have changed tremendously. And therefore, even the military in its own reaction, I was not happy. And I believe, I just hope that the military was misquoted when he said it will retaliate. Retaliate against who? You have not identified who did what. And then the easiest prey will be to go around like sometimes the policemen will do, to pick anybody who looks like. That's an unnecessary profiling, prejudicial profiling, you know. And there is an optics that is developing. You don't compare crimes. Crime is crime. But it appears that there is a different way the military or security agencies treat certain things that happen in certain locations as against how they do it in another location. And it shouldn't be so. Nigeria is the same. And the same crime should be meted out with the same punishment. But intelligence must come in. Intelligence, that's what, when we're doing Psychology 101, there's what we call SR mechanistic, stimulus response. The army of today should go beyond stimulus response and goes to stimulus mentalistic response. You must mediate the stimuli before you respond. You must find out who did what. Our criminal law and jurisprudence does not support Josephat killing Mr. Okonkwo, and then the police goes and arrests Samuel just because Samuel was staying there. You should look for the man who killed the person. You don't do displacement of aggression, and that is what retaliation connotes. And we have seen it in different locations, OD and what have you. So a situation where the military will come and pack every. I was just reading through some piece of information that in December, some people were arrested, more than 40-something, from the southeast again. Young men who, some of them never traveled even outside Onitsha. They were packed into Abuja only just some few days ago to be released by the Federal High Court on bail. Some of them didn't know why they were there. And some people will be looking for their children. So that is not the attitude. In classical philosophy, where some of these statecraft issues were enunciated, Plato talked about the spirited element. The spirited element is the armed forces. And the armed forces are like bulldogs. They don't attack their owners. They attack the enemies of their owners. But we are beginning to see aggression turned inwards. And the system that does that is increasing and escalating violence. Because some people who may not be able to retaliate will be animosity. So if you want intelligence, they will not give you. A military, like some of the cases we have read, trying to call the civil population, that was very good enough, giving them health services and so on. But that should not be a TV show. It should be ingrained in the character of the military, that you go after the criminals. Because indeed, what prevented the military from taking specific and audacious positions on that May 30, when it was announced to the whole world and to the discomfiture of even the Southeast people, including those whose children were to take exams on that day, that the people should not come out. That was an audacity that should not have been allowed to manifest. And now, you bring double jeopardy to the same people, like the proverbial palm kernel that says, as it was still suffering, that it was cracked with a stone. The person who cracked it put it in the mouth and cracked the nut with the teeth. That's double jeopardy. And in our laws, double jeopardy is not allowed. In criminal jurisprudence and our criminal laws, they are not. So the military should adopt intelligence, just like any other security agency should. It should not be a situation where 5 military men are killed, unjustifiably so. Then you go and pack 120 people, maybe 70 people will die in the process.
After hearing from this second man, try to compare the two statements and you will now understand what I mean when I said that the man called Iwanyanwu is a traitor. When you see the word of an elder, the word of a leader, there are differences. We are not asking anybody to come and support us openly. We are not asking anybody to come and stand behind us. We are not asking those of them in Nigeria to come and begin to promote Master Miracles or anything. Stand on your own side. At least face reality. Speak with evidence. An issue that has not been investigated yet. No investigation whatsoever. And today, the man who called himself the leader of the Ohaneze and Igbo is already linking it with the Biafran government. That is why he is now saying, why should a man should go and form soldier? Why should a man go and form army? And he is making that statement because of the Liberation Army that was formed by our Prime Minister, Mazi Samareba. Without any investigation. He is already linking it to the Biafra Republic of Zaga. In your own time, go through that very statement again that he made. I mean, Iwanyanwu. You will see from his statement at the ending of it, he has already accepted and believed that everything that happened has to do with the Biafra government in exile. But look at this man when he was speaking. He made the distinction that he can't blame anybody, neither will he make any pointing finger until investigation is being done. And that is how somebody that have good mental capacity will talk. And you should focus your attention on stopping the mayhem that is happening against your own people, accusing your people unnecessarily, punishing people who are not involved in whatever happens. That should be your own concern, and not blaming your own people. When the investigation has not been done, you don't even know the people who perpetrated the crime. You don't even know whether if the people are from Abia State or they are even Igbos. You're not sure. No investigation whatsoever. Simply because it happens in the territory, it has not become that everybody there is involved. That very dangerous attitude does not bother the Ohaneze people leader. What bothers him is to begin to blame his own people and begin to tell stories of how he grew up. And you see this man educating him on the situation that time. The time he grew up when he was growing up. Things are not the way it is now. People are not molded down simply based because of their identity. Like it is now. Even though there were hatred and intimidation, that not as the way it is now. Today it is more pronounced. Since from the time of the late Muhammad Buhari, everything has been more pronounced. The attack on Biafrans and hatred has increased to 100%, more than 100%. things are no longer the same. And this man who called himself leader of Ohaneze is not saying, look at somebody educating him. And before we go, I want to show you the last part of the video that you're going to watch. This part I'm going to show you is to show you the evil of the Zoological Republic media. Nigerian media is evil. When our Prime Minister, our Supreme, said that they are evil, that when you give them money to promote Satan as the angel of light, they will. Nigerian media is evil. And in this video that I'm going to play, you will see that they were not comfortable with the answer that this man gave them. They were not comfortable with it. He didn't use the language they wanted him to use, just the way their stooge, Iwanyamu, did. Iwanyamu played their card, spoke in their own language, exactly what they wanted him to say. But this man came and spoke in a different form, standing on his ground, on a neutral ground, to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. We are not asking him to defend anybody. At least stand on the truth and the reality of the day. That is where the man stood. And the media of Nigeria, we are not comfortable with that. Arise TV presenter wasn't comfortable. They have to rephrase the question. And they were forcing the man to drag him into what they want him to say. I want you to watch this last one of the video. Pay attention to every single answer the man is going to give and the way he responded. And first of all, listen carefully to the way the man rephrased his question. He rephrased the question trying to drag this man into a different direction from what was initially asked, which the man had already answered. But because the man did not answer it in the way they want him to answer it, they were not satisfied. They continued to drag him into a direction that they needed. And I want you to listen carefully. Watch closely to see the evil in the country of Nigeria, more especially in their media. And watch how that man responded. Then we will come back, finally. Let's watch.
All right, Dr. Naji, I mean, that's the explanation is, expansive enough. But I would like you to dimension this, rather specifically along the thoughts expressed by the President General of the Ohaneze Igbo, Chief Iwanyawu, who basically expressed exasperation at what is happening in Igbo land. And I'm asking you, what is your understanding of what is happening in Igbo land beyond a few aggrieved young men who are causing mayhem? Do you have a full understanding of what they are revolting against? Okay, yes, there was a Biafra Day celebration, but why ask people to stay at home? Why sit at home? Why deny people, young lads, from going for their exams? Another one is slated for, I believe, September 29th. We do not know what will happen by that time. So my question to you, sir, first is this just about, an overlay of security challenges that we're having in Nigeria, or is about the fact that the leaders in Igbo land need to call their word to order? And secondly, if I can put it in another perspective, do you think that the compatriots in Igbo land will be eager to stay in the brotherhood of this sovereign fatherland? In other words, will our compatriots in Igbo land, your people, our people, be willing to sing Nigeria we hail thee in the manner that things are going on now? Is that what we are saying, that people are agitating against the status quo?
Steve, the problem is not with the Igbo people, the ordinary Igbo people, it's with the politicians everywhere. The politicians are like Satans. Nigerian politicians, most of them are like Satans. The crime that they did not cause does not happen. And even the few that they may not have initiated, when they happen, they defend it, appropriate it, and consolidate it, and nothing will happen. So that impunity gives so much courage to even ordinary people that will not have thought of doing things, that are untoward. Now, talking about the Igbo situation specifically, I had occasion on this year's station, sometime when there was, I think, a bomb or something in the Imo State, very close to the government house. And the Inspector General of Police of that time, I can't remember his name, whether it's Garba, I can't remember his name now. Just that same morning, said that it was IPOB. And I was saying, as much as nobody is insisting whether he was right or not, he did not seem to have given opportunity for those who were on ground to investigate and pass. Because anytime you see a dog with a bone on its neck, it may not have been the dog that hung it there. It may not. And somebody can also hang bone on the neck of a dog to call it a bad name. That is also not to deny that some youths may not be so misguided to do things that are untoward, like any other criminal set of youths anywhere in the world. I am not here to defend anybody. If you grab anybody, deal with the person decisively. Crime has no ethnicity. The damage has no ethnicity. The damage is universal. Now, when you talk about whether the situation in the Southeast, I also had occasion to talk about the Southeast was becoming a bazaar. And everybody was coming in. Since Southeast was free from maybe the headsmen and all that violence, they needed to give Southeast some share. Even if it was being deprived under that particular administration, some of the access to power and access to good governance, they need to partake of the share of violence. That was what happened in those days. But I'm not saying that is a situation that we can easily replicate, because the last president had a personal encounter with Nnamdi Kanu on a personal level, where he felt insulted personally and all that and all that. That's no longer the situation with Tinubu. So Tinubu should also listen to some of the exhortations that he should help the Southeast. Because whenever you have a shanty, criminals will go and hide under its canopy. The other day, some environmental staff in Lagos went under the Ikoyi Bridge and was able to flush the sanctuary of some of the criminal elements in some parts of Lagos. It is the same thing. When you talk about IPOB, people use IPOB as a franchise, whether rightly or wrongly, even whether they are Igbos or not. The important thing is that IPOB, having been banned, is an outlaw. And therefore, when you have an outlaw operating, it cannot be lawful. So the point we are making is that the duty of security agents is to investigate these things. They should investigate. But is it not very strange, Steve, that whenever there is a threat from individuals or such organizations that they were going to do this, people should sit at home? Do you think that sitting at home is the best thing for people, especially when their own children education was being jeopardized? The people are helpless. They are helpless. So it is the state that should help them. And those who should be used to help them are those who have the means of violence to counter whatever violence. Because the sit-at-home order is at the threat of violence if you come out. And we have seen what has happened. And even sometimes you begin to wonder, could an Igbo man have the courage, the effrontery and temerity of character to unleash such a pain on a fellow Igbo helpless citizen, even of an older age, just because the person came out on that very day to fend for his family? So these are questions, and nobody can unravel those questions except the intelligence community. Many of the intelligence communities we have in different locations appear to be working, but there should not be some disparate application of intelligence in different locations when you have the same challenge. The same challenge should be met with the same seriousness. Okay? So the Igbo land, I believe, the politicians who seem to be flourishing in Igbo land are those who are enjoying certain leverages outside Igbo land. If you look at that, I will leave it at that. Yeah, because I'm an elder. So I don't say everything. Okay? When I tell you that you should not go to the stream, you should know that they either may be masquerade or ghost. And you refrain from doing so.
Thank you, Dr. Naji.
My fellow Biafrans, after watching this clip, I want you to be the judge for yourself. Go to the comment section and write on the comment section, tell me what you feel about this interview that was granted, about the speech of the man who called himself the leader of Ohaneze, and this very gentleman who is speaking. Tell me who among them speaks like a leader. When we call out these people that claims to be the elites in Biafra land, those who claim to be the leaders, those who claim to be in Ohaneze, Dohin, and Liam, all of them, we don't just call them out for nothing's sake. Some people say we don't respect them. We do not respect them because of their attitude. These are people whose responsibility is supposed to be to stand up and defend their own people. Defend the ordinary people. We are not asking you to go and stand and defend IPOB or whatever. At least defend the ordinary people who are out there. Stand your ground and defend. The most important thing that should be in all of their decks today should be how to stop the invasion of Biafra land by the military unnecessarily. Because the proper thing is to do an investigation first of all, find out those who came for the operation, and then go after them. If you feel you have the force and power to do it, go after them, get them, and do whatever you wish to them. Why do they continue to go onto the soft spot? And this attitude is only happening in Biafran territory, either in the southeast or the south-south. Whenever something happens, more especially among the Igbo Biafrans, whenever something happens within that area, the military is quick to go to action. They are very quick to reach a conclusion. Whatever happens, even in most of their flag-up operations, many of the things that happens in Biafra are flag-up operations planned by the DSS by themselves. Even when there are evidence showing that the DSS are involved in some of the activities in Biafra land, people have been caught, they confess. The military are part of the flag-up operations in Biafra land, and yet they only take that as an excuse to go after innocent Biafrans, going to the people's homes to begin to arrest, abduct. They abduct Biafrans, kidnap Biafrans on a daily basis, and no elite is coming out to speak boldly. All they come in the first of all, when they come, they interview them, they first of all begin to blame their children, even when they are not sure if the crime is committed by their own children. Is that the attitude of a father? A true father will first of all defend your child, then go in and ask questions. Find out if your child is really responsible before you can now begin to caution him. But what we see are people who blame even before they find out the truth. It has been happening again and again and again and again. Go to the comment section and tell me how you feel about this very video that I just broken into pieces. My fellow Biafrans, the only solution that remains for us today, the only way out of this very madness is independent state of Biafra, nothing else. Independent state of Biafra will be run by people who care about the masses, just as the Biafra Republic of Ohaneze is doing today. That is the only alternative. It doesn't matter. You can hate Mazi Simon, whatever, you can like him. He is standing on the solid ground, doing what he has to do to save and rescue his people. The only message Mazi Simon had is self-defense, and it is not a crime. International law supports it. African law supports it. Nigerian law itself supports self-defense. How is it that when Biafrans begin to defend themselves, it becomes a crime? It is not. We are very much aware that there are terrorists in uniform operating in Biafra land. Members of Boko Haram recruited into the military. We have seen them in videos, on confessions. So what else do you want us to wait? You want us to all be exterminated before you want us to fight back? I thank God for the Prime Minister Mazi Simon, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra. Biafran people are going to defend themselves. If it's going to take everyone out to defend Biafra, we will do that till the last man standing. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to guide our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to guide our Liberation Army. Biafra government, peace, progress, unity and equity. We move airborne. Thank you, as they say.